Today, the foreign ministers of Ukraine and Russia flew down to Turkey. This was the first high-level engagement since the war started. They laid out immediate priorities, they slammed each other and agreed to work together on humanitarian issues. But 2 weeks later, these talks were yet another futile attempt with no major breakthrough. The Russian invasion of Ukraine has entered its third week. The talks in Turkey today ended without any agreement either on humanitarian corridors or on a ceasefire. The Ukrainian foreign minister reiterated that Kiev will not surrender, while his Russian counterpart said the country did not attack its neighbor. Listen in.
They seek a surrender from Ukraine, but this is not what they are going to get. Ukraine is strong, Ukraine is fighting, Ukraine made Russian initial plans fail. We are ready to seek balanced diplomatic solutions to put an end to this war, but we will not surrender.
Answering the question on how the special military operation develops, those assessments are firstly given by the representatives of our Ministry of Defense and, most importantly, by the President. In his capacity of Supreme Commander, he repeatedly said that the operation has been going according to plan.
And for Ukraine, there were two immediate priorities. One is organizing a humanitarian corridor from Mariupol, and two is reaching a 24-hour ceasefire. There was major outcry over the bombing of a maternity hospital in Mariupol. But Sergei Lavrov slammed all such claims. He said the hospital was being used as a military base for Ukrainian nationalists.
At the UN Security Council meeting, our delegation presented the facts that this maternity hospital has long been occupied by the Azov battalion and other radicals. They drove out the women in labor, nurses and general staff. It was the base of the ultra-radical Azov battalion. This data was presented 3 days ago.
Lavrov also said that he did not believe that this would spiral into a nuclear war, but cautioned both the United States as well as Europe. He said Moscow would never again want to be dependent on the West again. Meanwhile, Turkey, which was mediating those talks, called the meeting civil despite the difficulties.
The summit did not take place in an easy environment. The war and the fighting continue, so of course this meeting took place under these conditions. But despite all the difficulties, I can say that it was a very civilized meeting. The parties defended their positions and opinions in a civilized manner.
And to get a better perspective on the recent talks in Antalya, joining us are Svitlana Zalishuk from the Zakarpatska Oblast in Ukraine. She is the current advisor to Ukraine's Deputy Prime Minister. Also with us is Lara Villalon, who is joining us from Istanbul. She is a freelance journalist covering social and political affairs in Turkey. Thanks very much, both of you, for being here with us. Svitlana, let me come to you first. The Russian invasion has now entered its third week. Talks have taken place once again with no breakthrough. What are your expectations at this point?
Unfortunately, the talks finished without any light in the end of the tunnel. We've heard that Russians don't want to stop the fight, and they will keep on bomb Ukraine, demanding capitulation, demanding Ukraine to give up on its territorial integrity and sovereignty. It means that war will unfortunately continue, because if Ukraine accepts unjustifiable Russian demands to refuse from Crimea, from Donbass, it would mean that UN never existed, has never been created. It would mean that humanity would give up on those important red lines that we have agreed after the World War II, that territorial integrity and sovereignty of the countries cannot be changed under the strength of armies of the bigger nations.
All right, Lara, let me now get you in on the conversation. Turkey has tried to play the role of a mediator between Ukraine and Russia this time around as well. There's been no breakthrough. How optimistic are you going forward now?
Turkey has been playing the mediator role since the beginning of the war, and even previously, before the invasion, they tried to gather Zelensky and Putin together to calm the tensions between both countries. And I feel they are not very optimistic, but they have no choice, because every day that the war goes further, for Turkey, it affects a lot economically and in the relations between both countries, because Turkey is an exception in the region. Like it has good relations with Ukraine, but also has good relations with Russia, but also is a NATO country. But at the same time, it has deals in defense and food, economic tourism with Russia. So for them, it can affect Turkey a lot in the foreign sphere, because of the relations of it with these countries, but also in a national terms, because it can affect a lot the tourism industry and food industry as well.
Svetlana, tell us more about the situation on the ground right now. What's it like living in Ukraine?
It's a difficult question. The whole country is under the attack. Every single citizen feels the impact of this war. There are more than 1.5 million of people who are refugees. We expect to have more of them. We have more than 50 kids. We have already 70 kids who have been killed. We have more than 1,000 civilians shot, killed. We have many cities and towns bombarded, with hundreds of schools destroyed, maternity hospitals destroyed, a lot of attacks on critical infrastructure, like bridges, roads, airports. Also, there is a real danger that Russian troops already entered 2 nuclear power plants, Zaporizhzhia and so-called Chernobylska nuclear power plants. There has been cut of the electricity on this Chernobylska nuclear power plant, which is a real concern for experts, for people who understand what does it mean. And Ukrainian government and international energy community calls Russian troops to get out of those critical nuclear power plant and to make sure that it's operating safely. Otherwise, it's a danger, nuclear danger, not just for Ukraine or Russia, but for our part of the world. So in short, in order to conclude, it's really difficult situation. It's what's happening. We believe it's genocide of Ukrainians. It's war crimes against Ukrainians without any single reason from Russian side.
Lara, what's in it for Turkey? What is at stake for the country as it tries to play the role of a mediator between Ukraine and Russia?
As I said, that the conflict goes further. By now is kind of maintaining like a neutral position in the conflict, but there might be a moment that it cannot keep it anymore, because by now it has decided to close the Bosphorus Strait for warships, both to Ukraine and Russia. But if the conflict continues, maybe there is a moment that they have to choose as a NATO country, maybe the side of Ukraine, and it can affect other deals and also other conflicts that Turkey and Russia share, like, for example, in Syria or in Libya, and further as well.
Svetlana, one final question to you. According to you, what impact does Turkey's intervention have on the negotiation process?
We appreciate our international partners who offering support. And Ukrainian president said many times, we insist on diplomacy. We do not support any violent way of the solution of any issues that are on the table. So Turkey offered its independent platform for the ministers to come in and to conduct their talks. It has to be said that it's for the first time since the beginning of the war when the representatives of governments negotiate directly, and we appreciate that. But at the moment, as I said, unfortunately, Russia refuses to stop the war against peaceful.
Svitlana and Lara, thanks very much for getting us a better sense of where things stand as of now. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.